Growing up, Dr. Kizzy Parks knew two things. One, that she would earn her PhD, and two, that she would be an entrepreneur. Oh my goodness. Listen, as a kid, she would go and get golf balls, clean them up, take care of them, save the good ones for her grandmother, who was an avid golfer. But guess what? Fast forward to today, she has earned her PhD and she has over 50 million in federal government contract awards for her three federal companies. And you're going to get to meet Dr. Kizzy M. Parks right after this quick intro. Welcome to all those that are joining us. Don't you move.
Whoa. Why y'all so happy?
You don't know? Sharvette Mitchell is on the radio.
It's time to get motivated, excited, and influenced. Why? It's the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, live from Richmond, Virginia. And now, here to motivate, excite, and influence you, Sharvette Mitchell.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show, broadcasting live from the capital city of Richmond, Virginia, but heard and seen all across the World Wide Web. Welcome to all of those that are coming on in on all of our streaming platforms. Oh my goodness. Facebook, you know, you're there in three different places: my personal page, the business page, and Hey Girl Hey, our Facebook group. We are so glad to have you. Welcome to those that are checking this out on LinkedIn. Cannot leave out our Twitter followers, and of course YouTube. Hello YouTube. Listen, we see some comments coming in over on YouTube already. Thank you so much, those that are popping on in from YouTube. We are so glad to have you, and certainly go ahead and hit that subscribe button to let people know that you are hanging out with us. Hey there, Linda Carter, thank you for popping in. Hey there, my sister Kim, thank you for popping on in. And we also want to give a shout out to our media sponsors, Swag Her Magazine. You may be watching this or listening to this from one of the many places that they have shared this. Welcome. Swag Her Magazine uses positive media and storytelling to create new narratives and mindsets around Black people, our communities, our businesses, and our organizations. Again, shout out to Swag Her Magazine. If you're brand spanking new to me, I'm Sharvette Mitchell, and I'm an online marketing strategist. I work with women entrepreneurs, and a few lucky men get sprinkled in to enable them to build their online platforms and personal brands so that they get more customers and generate more revenue. And I do that focused on marketing, visibility, and branding. And certainly the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show is one of those outlets. Listen, I know you guys are ready. Listen. We got people all the way from the islands. This is Giselle. And last time I think I put you in Jamaica, Giselle, I think you listened in from Trinidad. Let me know if I got it right this time. Delmar, thank you for popping on in. HR consultant, thank you for being here. So listen, let me share a little bit more about our guest today. I'm super excited. She's hanging out in the virtual green room, ready to come up, ready to chat with you. This is an episode you are going to want to share, talking about how you can grow your business. And really, I love this because this is really about someone who has done it. This is not someone who is just, read a book and is out talking about it, has grown her business with government contracting. So go ahead and share this out right now. But listen, while finishing a PhD in industrial organizational psychology, Dr. Kizzy M. Parks was a graduate research fellow for the Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute. Weeks before graduating, she was asked by the director of research to remain as a contractor. She had no idea what that meant and never anticipated forming KParks Consulting, Inc. Directly out of graduate school. Well, fast forward today, she has over 50 million in federal government contract awards for her three federal companies: KParks Consulting, Inc., AmPar Services, and KParks-AMTIS. And guess what? She's so gracious to be here with us today to chat and share her real life experience. Oh my goodness, we're so glad to have you. Let me bring Dr. Kizzy up to the mic right now. Welcome to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? How's everyone doing today?
Listen, the listeners are here. Hey, Britta, they are coming on in. We have comedian Wendy Lee is here in the building. They are coming on in. So they're excited to hear from you. And so I'd love for you to just share, you knew that you were going to have your PhD. What were your original career plans?
To figure out how I was going to pay my student loan debt.
Real talk.
It was because it was a lot. It was probably like a couple $100,000. So I was wondering, I was like, how am I going to pay my student loan debt? I thought I was going to be a college professor, but I gave up on that several years prior. And then I was interviewing for like just jobs that my friends would get.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, let me do the same. And then I ended up like praying not to get these jobs. It's crazy.
Wow. And so your first contractor position, like, can you tell us like what that was like? Your solopreneur at that point?
Yeah. So it happened at now Patrick Space Force. So I was a graduate research fellow there. And I was asked to stay on as a contractor. And so basically I became a subcontractor. And so I wasn't in any systems. I was still a solopreneur because going back to while I was in graduate school for a couple of years, I would earn extra money working on projects for consultants. I taught several courses where I was 1099. And so when I was given this opportunity to be a subcontractor, I said, okay, I'm going to run with this and start a business. I thought I was going to do it much later in life. I had no idea I would do it so early.
And so the bug bit you probably, I'm going to guess.
When I was a little girl, I always knew. When I was a little girl, I always knew I was going to be an entrepreneur.
All right. And so after that first experience, how did you then decide? Because it's one thing to do 1099 contract, but it's another thing to start a company. So tell us a little bit about kind of the evolution of the company.
Well, as I was working on the subcontract, I started picking up other work, and I was just like, I can't do all this on my own. And so I was like, okay, I need help. So I brought on board paid and unpaid interns. And I started to learn more because I really didn't know much whatsoever about federal government contracting. And so then the more that I learned, it would lead to additional work. And then I was like, wow, I got to start building out and building the company based on how I want the company to be.
And so tell us about the company. Like, what actual services do you offer that the government pays for?
Yeah, we offer a variety of services. So we inspect vape tobacco shops all across America. We provide training and development. We provide staffing. We provide data analytics. We provide research assistance. We've sold product. We've resold Oculus headsets to the Air Force. We've sold other products and software too. So a whole variety out there.
And so I think that's one thing that people are really interested in knowing is, hey, like, would the government actually want my stuff, want my services? You know, is there a market within the government for anything? Are the possibilities endless?
I believe the possibilities are endless. The federal government spends over $500 billion a year, and they buy everything from pancakes, coffee, scopes to control the hog population, horse training, weapons. They buy, for buildings and equipment and uniforms. And I mean, they buy everything. So if someone is very entrepreneurial and you're open to selling different, products and services, then it's the space for you.
Okay. So I want to make sure the listeners heard, you said 50 billion.
500, yeah, it's over, and it's over 500 billion.
500 billion.
Billion, yeah, and it is. They buy everything.
Okay,
no shortage.
There's no shortage. Those that are listening, those that are watching live, I want you to type 500 billion in the comments wherever you are. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, 500 billion. I just want you to type that so that resonates with you. That resonates with you. If you just jumping on in, you're hanging out here on the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. So, you know what I love? I went to your website and I saw this amazing position you have called Director of Getting Things Done. How did you come up with that?
Lori, yeah. I mean, what's really important is that as an entrepreneur, that you create your culture and your company the way that best works for you. Because at the end of the day, everything falls on you. It does. And so I like to use really unique titles, and it best describes what Lori Davis does. She's the director. She gets everything done, like whatever it may be. Like, I mean, I laugh because it's everything. Like, whatever it is, she makes sure that it gets done. And it's just the best title. We've had a culture manager. We've had I think a director of first impressions or manager of first impressions. Like, we've used all different types of titles because it's just a way to be creative, and it reflects just the culture of KParks Consulting, of KPC.
I love that. And I don't know if you saw how the comments are coming up over. It's like, yes. And I think that's such a great point, that it's your company. Like, who says it has to be the director of whatever. You have the opportunity to create and build whatever you need. And so I'm sure, where do you all spend the bulk of your time? Is it training and development? Would you say, where do you all spend like the bulk of the services?
My team it's kind of, it's like half and half. You know, my team, I thankfully have an amazing team, so I'm not involved in anything.
That's good. You're the president. She is the president, lady.
I'm out here trying to figure out what makes me happy. So that's my biggest journey right now. But so they spend a lot of time on basically, at the end of the day, making our clients' lives easier and making each other's lives easier. That's what they're doing. So as far as the work, like the type of work, it really varies.
Wow. And I'd love to hear, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, budding, emerging entrepreneurs. What are you discovering that's making you happy, if you're willing to share?
Oh, yeah. Like, it's part of the journey. I don't even know. I mean, that's really like where I am, like real talk, like right here today. I'm like, well, what makes me happy? So doing things like this makes me really happy. And I love helping people. It makes me happy. I like creating content. I started a new business called GovCon Winners to help service-based small businesses win profitable government contracts. That makes me super happy. Yeah, I love GovCon Winners, and there's more too. So I'm just trying to figure just a lot out as far as what makes me happy. Crypto makes me extremely happy. It really does. I bought some before we started. I mean, I had to get in on a pre-sale. I mean, serious. Like, these are real things going on in the life of an entrepreneur over here. So, but the cool thing is, in the big takeaways is the I'm very blessed in that I have choices. And that's one of the greatest gifts of being an entrepreneur, is you have a lot of choice. It's whether or not you want to explore it or pursue it or even acknowledge it. But as an entrepreneur, every single day, every single waking hour, I have choice. And I'm not to suggest that those who aren't entrepreneurs don't have choice, but I get to create things. It's like I draw them and they come to life.
Yeah. And so you got to give us the deets on how those that are listening could be a part of that program or services, to help them.
Yeah, definitely. Just, let's see, there's a couple ways. One is you can message me on like LinkedIn. I'm going to get to you quicker. Just on LinkedIn, you can message me on Instagram too. I'm not as much, like the messages in Facebook are always kind of weird. So I don't really use that much, y'all. But LinkedIn, Instagram, and you can join my text community. I have a really cool community. I send kind of motivational text a few times a week, and you can engage directly with me. And you can reach me at 305, like Miami, 305 853-9481. So 305-853-9481. And just to say, hey, I heard you on a podcast, heard you on the radio show, I saw you on LinkedIn, saw you on Instagram, saw you, and I would love to learn more, because the sky is the limit for government contracting. And it's so imperative to at least have assistance from people who are doing it. Like what was shared on the intro. I didn't read a book. I didn't work for the federal government. I wasn't in the military. My family members were in the military, but I've actually, learned, I teach and share what I do. So that's,
and you have receipts. You have receipts, because some people teach what they don't have receipts for. Ladies and gentlemen, throw some hearts up for that. Thank you, Tony M. Winston. Follow the pink squirrel. Is this the correct number here?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, please message me on my community, and I'll contact you.
Great. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit. And I have tagged Dr. Kizzy on LinkedIn.
Oh, good. Yes.
Yes, I've tagged so you can connect there. So I'm sure you have many lessons learned. So what I want to actually start with are pros and cons.
Okay.
So what are the pros for doing business with the government, and what are maybe some of the cons?
Okay. So the pros are, if your payment is late, you get interest. I mean, it's taxpayer dollars.
Okay.
But just let you know. I was letting you know. So honestly, you get interest. They always pay. The only time, which would be a con, the only time I've come across when the federal government didn't pay was because of a contractual issue. So I would say is a con. So kind of meshing them together. So the federal government, typically you get paid anywhere from 15 days to maybe 60. Usually if it goes over 30, you'll get interest, unless there's something in particular with the payment schedule of your said contract. I've received payments as quickly as 24 hours. I promise you I have, which was blowing my mind.
Yes.
The con is, though, you're going to have to really, really be prepared to read and almost fall in love with government contracts, period. Like the actual contract.
Yeah.
Because there have been times, for instance, where someone did training in Puerto Rico, and they found out after the fact that they really weren't supposed to go to Puerto Rico, so they didn't receive payment.
Ooh.
But you have to read your contract. It's no different if you're doing business with Amazon and you're a reseller. You have to read your agreement.
Yes.
I mean, so it's not a con just to federal government space. It's just in general. You have to be very aware of what does the contract say. You have to know that. The other thing is, and this, I love this. Some people maybe not as much. What I love about the federal government is that I feel like we're just like an extension, and we're here to help with their missions. But you have to keep in mind there's all these different layers, right? So we're contractors. Taxpayer dollars are being used to pay us to, let's say, inspect a vape tobacco shop. So then who is our real client? Well, the client is the FDA. The client are the people in the particular department. The client are these other people in that particular department, as well as even our clients are the shops that we inspect, because my employees are physically going to vape tobacco shops in 50 states. And if they go into a shop and they're inappropriate, that's a reflection of me.
Yes.
So although they're there to inspect, so that's what I find so exciting and fascinating about the federal government is you don't really have like one client. And then my employees don't have one boss. It's not Lori, it's not me, it's not, Giselle or Chris. It's all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a lot.
Wow.
If I may, because it's kind of it's a mixed bag, con and pro, is Delmar, hopefully I pronounced your name right, Johnson had made a remark about, thank you so much, about finding them. It is extremely challenging because there's a lot of hidden language in there. that I didn't know. When I first started out, I had no idea. And so it can be very challenging to really understand them, to know where to find them, to figure out if you actually have a high probability of winning. So it's almost like you have to approach it like a job, right? You see a job and you're like, oh, I can do that. And then you don't realize that they already know who they want for the job, but they have to post the job.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you, Delmar, for that, who does HR consulting for small businesses. So she says she's going to be connecting with you. And so what are the, we say fit 500 billion. So that might scare some people and say, well, I'm not ready for that. But a solopreneur, there are contracts that a one-person shop could win, because contracts are at all different price points, right?
Right. And what's great about a solopreneur, or maybe there's a handful of you, is you don't have to be a prime contractor. So when I first started out, I was what you call like a subcontractor. So company A had the contract, and then they paid me and a bunch of whoever else's. And then we had this shared client, but I just had to provide the services. I submitted the monthly report. I submitted the invoice to company A, and then they paid all of us. So when I first started out, I wasn't in any systems. I wasn't in SAM. I had no idea what it was. I literally used my social security number because that's what you can do when you're a solopreneur.
Right.
That's what I did. I didn't incorporate for several months, not until May of 2008. So my point is, for those of you that are a solopreneur or smaller, what I think is a really good approach is you can connect with business owners like myself, because we may need your services. So for instance, I needed someone who can provide really cool, engaging content and training on how to make virtual training exciting and exhilarating and just amazing, right? So I knew exactly who to ask. Is this person that I ended up hiring, is this woman in these government systems? I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure she's not. But she's now doing work for the federal government because it's through us. So and then that's perfect, right? So sometimes you have to go and find out and research who are some companies or who are some people I can connect with who might need what I offer, or may need it in the future, right? That's also important too, is thinking down the road. Don't think just tomorrow, but maybe a year from now, they may need your services.
So well said. And so if someone's saying, okay, this is Dr. Kizzy, you got me on the spin here. What are maybe one of the first, like 1 to 3 steps you would recommend for them to take?
Okay, so the first step, and I say this for to all entrepreneurs. So government, it doesn't matter what you want to do. You need to make sure you can pay your bills. So this is like hands down, because what'll happen is you'll get in this position like, oh my God, I gotta, and then you're anxious and you're not gonna be able to pay your bills. And then you're just gonna go into deeper debt, and then you're gonna be pissed off, and you're not gonna be able to pay your bills, and it's not good. And then there's no more stimulus. I don't see a stimulus. There's not gonna be another stimulus. So we can't, there's nothing coming, right? So the point is, maybe you need to work on this idea at 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Maybe you need to bring on a side hustle. Maybe you need to save money. Maybe your spouse, significant other, you're going to just live off of their salary. You're going to, change up your life. Who knows? But first and foremost, you need to be able to pay your bills. Hands down. The second thing you need to do is to figure out your mindset. Do you want to sell what you know, or do you want to sell to make money? Sell anything. So be serious. I mean, this is very important.
Yeah.
Because you think of IBM. So something may come to mind. Maybe the first thing that comes to mind for you is like a computer. Maybe it's technology. Maybe it's cloud. I don't know. I always sometimes think of chess. Weird things for IBM. That's just my brain. Well, IBM does a lot more than that. They provide staffing to the federal government. They provide diversity solutions to the federal government. You would never know this.
Clue. Right.
We'd never know this.
Right.
We'd never know this, but why not? Right? Because they're a business. Why not? And so you have to think in terms of IBM. They're not just hustling computers. They're offering all of these other products and services. So then you have to ask yourself, do I want to be like an IBM? And, my passion is being an entrepreneur and having this amazing client. It's cool if I sell coffee grounds. Okay. Or are you like, you know what? I just really want to provide HR services. Okay. Well, maybe to the federal government, that looks different. Maybe that's staffing. Maybe that's staffing and staffing. Maybe that's what you end up doing. Because they're not going to necessarily, they staff HR positions, but are they outsourcing a ton of HR? Somewhat. Sometimes it's rolled up in organizational development, assessment, leadership, or strategy or restructuring, right? So you have to decide. Number 2 is that path. I sell what I sell, or I want to sell whatever it is I sell. And then the third thing is just be ready to get to know people and to partner. Because the federal government, they know that there's thousands of companies that offer what they need. And why should they go to us when they can go to Lockheed Martin or Deloitte or DynCorp or IBM or Raytheon? Why come to us? Why? So partnering is very important because it shows them, oh, wow, okay, I have a little more trust, a little more confidence. There's something there. And it's finding a partner who adds value. Maybe it's in experience, maybe it's in, with something that they offer, who knows? But that partnering is vital in the federal government space. It's so important.
I'm telling you, listeners, viewers, those 3 points, I'm going to drop the number back up. Let me read it for those that are listening from podcast. 305-853-9481. And if you missed that, listen, you just need to go to one of our platforms and watch the stream, because Dr. Kizzy is a doll, and I'm dolled up today too. So you just need to see this interview anyway. And so connect there. And I'm just appreciative of your time, that you are reaching back, just saying, I can help you grow your business with government contracting. It's been a little bit of a buzzword, I would say, I've seen in the last 6 months, but it's not anything new. I think it feels like maybe just a new awakening, and maybe people are looking at different options and realizing that there's money being left on the table. Yeah. And so, yeah. I'm sorry. So there's a comment on a current contract that we are prime in. I'm not sure who asked that, but it looks like there's a little bit. Okay, so let's see. The company I work with is looking to partner with medical supply companies on a current contract where they are the prime. So if you're listening, watching, this person is in my Facebook group. Hey girl, hey. .today is where you can connect, or if you want to leave, whoever left that message, if you want to leave your contact, thank you for that. All right, so Dr. Kizzy, as we wrap up, the goal of my show is to motivate, excite, and influence, and we want to know what continues to motivate you.
Oh, what continues to motivate me? Wow, there's a lot. Like there's my family motivates me a lot. My team motivates me. My clients motivate me. I'm the kind of person where I always succeed. Even if it's a failure or it doesn't turn out exactly how I expected it, I'm just this high achiever. So it's just I keep going. There's the only way to put it. Like whatever it is, I go forward with. I love doing, and especially as an entrepreneur, I know this is how I'm going to be forever. Like, I'm not going to say like, oh, I reached this limit and now I'm retired. No, I'm going to be 80, still hustling something. I know I am. I already know this. And it's just how I am. So I'm just very driven to be a success and to show people that if I can do it with my backstory and my life and all the craziness I've been through, then you really can super do it, because there's nothing, unique or amazing to who I am. I mean, I'm a woman of faith, and I'm definitely, grateful to God for all these blessings, but it's just about, just taking that leap and having that fire there and constantly striving for better. That's what I think has really led to a lot of the success. And of course, my team is my team. I mean, I just sprinkle some seeds and then they're like, oh goodness, what is she doing now? And then they run with it.
Listen, listeners, did you catch that? I always succeed. I always succeed. Affirmation, Dr. Kizzy, give her credit if you use it. Matter of fact, type it in the comments wherever you're listening, Instagram, later you're catching the recording of this. Type, I always succeed. I always succeed. I always succeed. I always succeed. Thank you. Thank you for that, Dr. Kizzy. That is an affirmation to me. Yeah.
It's true. You got to. You always succeed. I mean, that's it.
That's it. Well, thank you so much. I know listeners and viewers and those that are listening to this 60 days from now and 60 months from now, we'll be reaching out to you. But we wish you much more continued success. And thank you for stopping by the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.
Thank you so much for having me, Sharvette. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, listeners, O to the M to the G. I'm telling you, this is a segment that you want to rehear. Share this out. I know that there are people on your timeline. There are business owners on your timeline that need to hear this and connect with Dr. Kizzy. Listen, I see your comments. I see them coming in. I always succeed. Yes. Wendy Lee, comedian, Quiet Storm. I always succeed. Brenda, absolutely. Rita, speaker, international speaker. I always succeed. Gwen, life coach. I always succeed. Delmar, I always succeed. I always succeed. You all got it. So connect. If you're hanging out at Sharvette.com, we have contact information and a little bit more about Dr. Kizzy. You can listen there. That's a really great place to send people to. Is Sharvette.com. It has the podcast and the video and all that good stuff. And I'm glad that you stopped by and continue to hang out and check us out every single week. Again, I'm Sharvette Mitchell, Online Marketing Strategist. I work with women entrepreneurs and a few lucky men get sprinkled in to help them build their online platforms and personal brands so that they get more customers and make more revenue. And I do that focused on your marketing, your visibility, and your branding. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll see you guys later on the web. Bye.
Live from Richmond, Virginia, you've been listening to the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show. Catch Sharvette Mitchell every Tuesday at 6 p.m. interviewing all the stars you want to hear from. So until next week, stay motivated, excited, and influenced. This is the Sharvette Mitchell Radio Show.